That's what the media do not want to see. That's what the media are trying.
A very happy Socialist Sunday to you people. Yeah, we're all good to go for the Sunday live stream here on my left eye. Thanks a lot for joining me. Hope you're all good. Yeah, we'll catch up on the latest few bits and pieces. And as always, we've got Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics, the house band here, playing some chilling jazz. So yeah, take a bow, Herbie and Co. Doc is the first in the chat. Great to see you. How's your week been? Yeah, I've been pretty maxed out this week, I've got to be honest. That's why there's been very little in the way of video content, but happy to be with you on the stream tonight. Very glad to be here. I should say though, because of said busy schedule, I was unable to get down to London yesterday. However, I'm going to be catching up with David and a few other people on Thursday, so I'm going to be catching word with him then. That's David, who did the Eurovision protest. So yeah, that was going to be a staple part of the content for the stream tonight, but I've still managed to put a few bits and pieces together. We've got some stuff to catch up on. Doctors are threatening a strike. We've got lots happening where Gaza is concerned as well to get through. And the first nationalised rail network has been revealed this week as well, or has it? That's another one of the topics getting onto. Yeah, hopefully a couple of light-hearted moments while we get through that all as well. But please do make sure that you've hit thumbs up on the stream whilst you're here. I really do appreciate that. Mobius, hope you're doing well. this new community feature is still in effect, so I see. Yeah, both on 50 XP there, according to the counter, according to the chart, but we're just getting going. Just warming up here. Oh yes, Mo. I think we'll all be doing a lot better when Palestine's free. Much to say about that this evening, including Badenoch's latest blunder. Amid a series of mistruths, as she's got a reputation for putting out on mainstream media, she also accidentally said the quiet part out loud about the UK's role in all of this. That was on Laura Kussenberg. I'll be talking a bit more about that quite shortly. I don't know if you spotted at the start of the stream as well that little clip from the festival. That was from Kneecap's set. It's the first one since one of the members was arrested under jumped up anti-terror charges. So they definitely seem undeterred, and if anything, they're going to be speaking out more about Palestine and drawing a lot more attention to themselves. So, you know, really, if the establishment hadn't gone for them, perhaps a lot of people wouldn't have heard of them or even know what they're about. But alas, it's backfired, and in their attempts to silence them, they've actually brought them quite unprecedented attention for this underground trio. You missed the I'll play it again. Might as well. It's only brief. I do have more festival footage. A little bit later, but here's the Kneecap clip again. I'll just turn the music down.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! That's what the media do not want to see.
That is what the media do not want to see. It's true. Perfectly true. I'll just leave that up there for a bit. Just wind it back so we can actually see the sign. Yeah. Dak Polanski's been out today on the media rounds as well, putting up a much better performance than Badenoch, it's got to be said. I don't have a clip prepared, but I've seen one or two snippets, especially on this, and there are already early warning signs that elements of the mainstream media are starting to put the same line of questioning towards Zach as they did towards Corbyn, which is obviously shows they've been a bit rattled, bit of a knee-jerk reaction. But Polanski's point was perfectly valid, and he was saying that obviously these are artists, as I've been saying, and of course that's how they choose to express themselves. It's not for politics to, you know, interfere with that so much, and he thinks that they're perfectly entitled to make those statements, which they are. And then Kussenberg was trying to come back with, oh, so you will endorse someone who has said this and encourage that, and trying to twist his words, twist what's going on. Do you think this is acceptable? Blah, blah, blah. But he was having none of it. Mobius, thanks for the gifted membership as well. Solidarity for that. Ruth Guthrie, hope you enjoy your perks. And yeah, just going back to the kneecap thing as well, it's not really my genre of music, but definitely now I know what these guys are saying about not just Gaza, but, you know, wider society. I know there is a lot of that in underground stuff as well. But I'll definitely be trying to keep up with them. Whereas before I would have just said, oh yeah, you know, 10 a penny, one of these underground acts. But no, they've actually caused a few ripples, if you want to put it that way. And that's how you know. That's how you know you're doing the right thing. Obviously, I'm coming at this from an environmental protester's point of view as well. Obviously, there have been pushbacks against me from the establishment, legislation. I've obviously been arrested and whatnot as well. So I know what it's like. And you know that when this starts to happen, and you know that you're on the right side of history, then it just means that you're obviously doing the right thing. Jojo, how you doing? Hope you're having a good week. Yes, indeed, there will be plenty to say about Gaza as we get through the stream. Just warming up for another couple of minutes here. Got a light-hearted clip lined up. Before the doom scrolleth commenceth. Divinia, how you doing? Very good evening to you, comrade. Happy Socialist Sunday. You can also celebrate Socialist Sunday by sharing the stream around your appropriate social medias. That would be wonderful. And you can give us a follow, preferably on Blue Sky at the moment, at MyLeftEye UK, but also on Mastodon and Twitter. Always Twitter, never X. Just very quickly, actually, while I'm on the topic of social media, as well as talking about Gaza. You probably remember Ty Hickey, if you're a long-term viewer of the show. You're probably just aware of him anyway, of course. I came across a video he put out earlier today. He's had his Instagram taken down. Now, Ty has a much bigger following than I do, and thoroughly deserves the amount of views that he gets. Hundreds of millions he's been getting on Instagram, and some 300,000 followers, I believe, which is certainly impressive. But he's had a lot to say about Gaza recently, and this does seem like a clear-cut censorship issue. Now, he does mention in the video that there is some sort of automated process in Instagram accounts being shut down. We don't have an Instagram account here at MyLeftEye, but yeah, it certainly seems that that's a very bad way of doing it. He points out that it's probably illegal, and I think that's a pretty poor excuse to try and silence someone. Other people who've featured regularly on the show as well, Rathbone, have had profiles taken down as such. So I think he's in the process of putting in an appeal. I'll wish him the best of luck with that. he's out on other platforms as well, so it doesn't completely suppress his voice. Fortunately, he does have accounts on Blue Sky and Twitter as well as YouTube as well. And Odin joins us. Great to see you, Allfather. The Allfather. Of course, we always know when you're about to show up because of all the feckin' crows. It's on the way. That was a rather terrible impersonation of a flock of crows. Whatever noise that was. Okay, let's get cracking. Clips and stuff. I think we're nicely warmed up enough. So yeah, this is the latest one from Rothschilds, who I've featured before. Very fresh, this one. So, JD Vance at the naval graduation ceremony in the United States should be pretty interesting.
Hey, I heard Vice President Vance is going to be delivering the commencement address for our naval graduation ceremony. Oh, yeah. This is going to be nuts. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, he was a Marine. Might be great. Hello, boat warriors. I'm Vice President and Peppered Puddin' Pop, JD. Due to a series of painful rashes, I can no longer wear leather Vance. Never mind what I said, it's gonna be super weird. Okay, good congratulations, naval graduates, on following all of your instructions to completion. You will now go out into the world and continue following instructions until you either retire or die. How long have you sailed here? Did you all know I was a Marine? And believe me, I saw some of the worst combat reports during my time in the press office. Seems like an odd thing to bring up at a naval graduation. Shh, my show is on. I received a lavender heart for being wounded adjacent to battle. June 2005, I got a real bad paper cut that just would not stop bleeding, so I've been there. I do have a question for all of you naval graduates. Why is it called water polo if horses aren't allowed to play? Horses can swim, I've seen it. I have also been asked repeatedly to stop using the term water sports without explicitly referring to an aquatic athletic activity. So now I have done that, and I can continue talking about how much the President and I enjoy the water sports of you seamen. Another thing, it's called navy blue, yet all of you seem to be wearing white. This is confusing and distressing me greatly, for I do not know if this is the result of a clerical error, or if this is just a big prank upon me and there is no navy blue. Does navy blue actually exist? None of you will be allowed to leave the stadium today until I get a thank you from each and every one of you and each and every member of your families in attendance. You're welcome! Finally, I recognize your joy in your completion of training in controlled violence, but I also lament at the uselessness of your skills in the coming days. Wait, what did he say? Once the Glothian Mining Consortium arrives with its full armada, you will undoubtedly fight as you have been conditioned to do. But it will be all in vain, as the GMC's ionized proton beams will eviscerate anything the Navy can muster. Fret not, for those of you who survive the onslaught will be turned into serviceable mining automatons as your strong virile bodies are put to good use. When the mining units are put to sea, you will answer the call of the GMC. Well, okay, good luck to all of you. Now, I was told that there was a surprise gift waiting for— oh, shit. My name's oh! That is so nice of you. Oh, my lord. Who gave him a couch? Apparently, it was in his writer. Looks like graduation caps aren't gonna be the only thing going up today. Blow me down, matey. Blow me down. Why do we have to be here for this? Okay, good.
JD Vance
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, very good. I can't play his clips right to the end because there's generally copyrighted music on at the end. But yeah, awesome stuff. From Rothschilds. It appears that Aldin Allfather has stolen the crown. Got to #1 in the chat now, yeah. Or is that it's more pillaged than stolen? Typical Viking. So the battle's on. Yeah, you've got to feel sorry for that couch. So yeah, got on over to Rothschilds and give them a follow as soon as you can. I also need to say thank you to all the members on the channel, of course. Just before I get into articles and such. Thanks Mobius for that gifted membership already on the stream, awesome stuff. Most gracious, of course, as always, to those of you who've renewed your memberships as well. And yeah, current goal is to break through and sustain past 100. So thank you very much everyone. We're currently on 94 now with that gifted membership, so just dip slightly back under the 100 for now, but I'm sure we'll be back over anytime soon. It's back to this new community ranking system thing. Does seem a bit weak. You know, you only need 75 XP. So it's currently a 5-way tie. Maybe they're still developing it, you know, there might be sort of, you might have to get higher XP in the future to get to #1. But very quickly, hold up. Massive gift there, thank you very much Divinia, that's incredible. 10 gifted memberships, thank you so much. Oh great, and yeah, nice shot as well. Giorgio picks up one of those. Well, we've got Giorgio on the stream right now, so that's fantastic. Takes us over the 100 as well. Marvellous. 104. Thank you very much, Davinia. Marvellous. So yeah, the XP Odin is if you post in the chat or you post a super chat or a super sticker, then you get XP. However, the top limit threshold at the moment seems to be stuck at 75. It's not too difficult to get to 75. Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to change that. guess you've got to be being early like you were to get to the top. So well done. Your tactics have worked well. Right people, let's get over and into some stories. I'm just going to start quickly with the doctor's strike. The threat of a doctor's strike, as it is. Now with the latest payoff, again, being a complete and utter insult. I'll just bring the chat on the screen as well. Refresh that, there we go. And this has gone on for far too long now, as we're going to see in the article, but I'm sure a lot of you already know that these crumbs that get thrown on the table to our absolutely essential NHS staff, doctors and nurses, they're just nowhere near enough. They've been offered, well, given 4% as a pay rise, and the BMA representing doctors said the increase effective from 1st of April was derisory and did not go far enough in reversing historical pay freezes. Now, they've been below inflation in terms of wage increases for nigh on a decade and a half now, people. Ask yourself if you'd stay in the same line of employment with that sort of insult. No, but these people care and they work damn hard and very long hours as well, a lot of them doing large amounts of overtime as the NHS was essentially brought to its knees during COVID, as we all know. We know what the Tories did to the NHS, we know how they mishandled the response to the COVID pandemic all too well. Back in the days before I started the channel. But they've had to be there, you know, they are essential workers. And we knew back then that a clap on the doorstep really was nowhere near enough, and neither is this now. What's Wesley said? Well, he's trying to claim that the rise is above inflation, so then we know it's bullshit, because Wes Streeting said it. But the BMA Council Chairman, Professor Philip Banfield, says it was still around a quarter less than it was 16 years ago. When taking account of inflation, he said the pay rise takes us backwards, pushing pay restoration even further into the distance without a government plan or reassurance to correct this erosion of what a doctor is worth. So they're threatening to go to strike, and yeah, well done to them. But of course we're going to see another round of attacking NHS staff, trying to call them greedy, trying to call them irresponsible. And that'll be coming from Labour, I'm not just talking about on the right as well. Well, obviously we are still talking about Labour when we mention the right these days, of course. The Royal College of Nursing says it's grotesque, and that it will be entirely swallowed up by price rises. And I won't go through the full stats there, but you know, you've got doctors on around £18 an hour at the moment. You know, doctors, you don't just, you know, it's no offence to anyone who's studying at an A-level or diploma level, it's obviously a lot more difficult than that, and they go through a lot to become doctors, and it's supposed to be rewarding. Where was it? I did see something in here earlier I wanted to point out. About what they actually should be getting in terms of, you know, how much of an insult this actually is. They really by right should have something along the lines of an increase of a third. That's obviously 33, around 33%. So 4% just emphasises how derisory this is, and it's a drop in the ocean as well. From the GDP, they've got so much money, you know, for war, for all this other destruction. But not for the NHS. So yeah, please do support the striking doctors and nurses. There's been 11 separate strikes in the last 2 years, it points out. And they're still having to go out, take to the streets. And then this will get people like West Streeting saying, oh, it's unsustainable now, isn't it? Just like the water companies were unsustainable, the rail networks were unsustainable, we're going to have to sell it all off. But don't worry, they'll definitely run it better. Well, yeah, look what happened with everything else that used to have the word British in front of it. The NHS is certainly no different. Optimistic Nihilist, thanks for joining us, and we've got Politics Clive as well in the house. Great to see you both. Happy Socialist Sunday. Yeah, it looks as though you're all pretty clued in to what Streeting's plans are, obviously. We're more than aware of them ourselves. In fact, I do have a... That's the situation. And we normally see this clip during PMQs, don't we, when whenever there's an NHS question or a healthcare question. Starmer does his answer, and then partway through, it'll cut across to Wesley with his nodding face. Oh yes, I'm all over it, boss. Yes, I am. Oh, believe me, there's gonna... Oof, wow. We're so great, aren't we? It happens every week. But no, it's not theirs to sell. It is ours to protect, and protect it we shall. Even Thatcher knew that you shouldn't tamper with the NHS in that way. That shows how utterly ridiculous things became after, I think, Tony Blair first started to departmentalise, to chop up the NHS into tiny pieces, and each of these pieces he saw as a market to be sold off. Of course, if you had a public NHS one day and then overnight turned it private, yeah, there'd be mass riots in the street, there'd be uproar. So they do it a stealthy way, they do it a silent way. They take this piece, they sell that piece, and it created this system where the NHS buys and sells to and from itself, and it gets so convoluted and messed up that it causes obviously a lot of inefficiency. And then it's at that point that you get all of these ghouls, all of these vultures, and in this generation now obviously it's the likes of Wes Streeting, but still with Tony Blair with his fingers on the strings, saying, oh look how inefficient it is, how the bloody hell did this happen, oh no, it's not working, we need to sell it. It's as obvious a plan as it is despicable. For the record, I'm obviously no fan of Thatcher, I just use that for context when you compare the amount of meddling that goes on these days. One of a myriad of reasons why we've got to keep reform out as well. Excuse me, let's not forget, they've been very clear about their intentions for an insurance-based health system like they have in the United States. What's that? You broke your leg a couple of times? Oh, sorry, you're going to end up living in a car, even though you probably earn a six-figure salary. What's that? Triple heart bypass? Oh no, sorry. You're going to have to sell the house. You're going to have to sell the lot. This is the land of opportunity, don't you know? This is the free state of America. The United States of America. 52 free countries all together in one fucked up ball. Yeah, and it goes on and on, doesn't it? You know, prices, drug prices. What was the name of that absolute... Oh, God. Words fail me for just, you know... It's as low as you can go. The guy who increased the price of, was it HIV and AIDS drugs, medicine, by several %,000%, just because he could. Yeah, that's really not what we want here. Be afraid, be very afraid. The shite hawk cometh. Part man, part frog. Human human frog. Yeah, Nigel Farage. There's currently either neck and neck or ahead in the polls, depending on which poll you read. But fortunately, not a lot of people turned up for this, the Great British strike. Yeah, did you hear about that one? No, this isn't a proper strike. This isn't like one that NHS staff are proposing. It was essentially just a bunch of reform voting GB News readers, and I say a bunch, I mean about, what, 15? And this was like widely advertised and broadcast on social media, on GB News. And yeah, very poor turnout. Nothing like the 7,000 people who showed up at Downing Street to demand sanctions on Israel. Saw some pictures as well. Whenever these air quotes demos take place, inevitably whoever's down there, obviously they're not normally particularly sober, shall we say. We saw the scenes a couple of years ago where there were clashes, but they always seem to find themselves lining up and pissing against the wall that's just across from Downing Street on Whitehall, a bit behind the statue, roughly behind the statue where Bernard Montgomery is, for anybody who's familiar with that part of London. And I saw someone on social media there was the picture of, you know, there was about 8 of them in a line, pissing against the wall. Apparently the far right are quite open to using open-air gender-neutral bathrooms. Rank hypocrisy. But I'm going to stay with domestic affairs before I get over to Gaza in a bit more depth. There's still a couple of stories I want to get into here. Excuse me. Dry throat today. So yeah, Angela Rayner was also doing the rounds today. She was on Cussenberg, but refused to confirm if the 2-child benefit cap will be abolished. Now, there was this sort of suggestion, more than an announcement, and a clear path or plan this week, wasn't there? But it's all been very vague and spurious. The phrase to be announced during some fiscal event particularly sticks out. Yeah, Starmer's team must have been up all night writing that one. But Rayner was pressed on the issue and apparently tried to dodge around it when Cussenberg brought it up. So the estimated cost is around $3.5 billion to bring this back. She was asked where they'd get it from, for example. Obviously, you need but tax the rich is the obvious answer. You know, the elephant in the room that neither the interviewer or interviewee tend to acknowledge. But she responded, I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to do the voice, although I'm tempted to. I'm not going to speculate on what our government is going to do, said Angela Rayner. She pointed to the establishment of Child Poverty Task Force. Yeah. Oh, remember that one? Yeah. Scrap a policy, you know, one that helps people, and then announce a task force that never appears, you know. That seems to be the way that they're going about it. And so, if said task force was as effective as to replace the policy effectively, then what's the point in getting rid of the policy in the first place? Now, if you can do the same thing for cheaper, then yes, that's good budgeting, you know, without any negative consequences whatsoever. Yes, that's just good. That's just departmental budgeting. That's a good thing. But if you just throw the word task force out and expect to put a sticking plaster on an issue as a replacement, then you're going to get what's coming to you. Child Poverty Task Force. But this hasn't come out of the blue. They've obviously taken a massive dip in the polls on this issue, one of the main issues, and they've said that they're considering getting rid of it. And all it is, you know, even Laura Cussenberg's getting away with this. It's so, how are you going to do it and when is it going to happen? Two very simple questions. If you can't answer those, then don't announce the policy. So asked if she backed the proposal, she said they're looking at child poverty and that she supported what the government has done so far. She was also categoric in her denial behind a recent leak. She says, "I do not leak. I think leaks are very damaging." So here's another subject that's been coming up recently, whether she will actually make a move to be the next leader of Labour. Many, including myself, estimate he might not survive the next 4 years before the election, going off of current polling. Other YouTube providers as well have put out some great content recently about that. I know that No Justice did a piece on that, so check that out. But for my 2 cents, I think, if anything, she might be one of the more likely ones. She's completely betrayed her roots in getting to Deputy Prime Minister, it has to be said. But she says she doesn't want to run for leader, and she's ruling it out. She's denying that there are splits in the cabinet. Of course there are. The winter fuel payment issue really has divided Labour. That's completely undeniable. So we've got to wait till the autumn budget, apparently, to find out, according to Keir Starmer. Everybody's braced for this spending review that's coming up as well now, aren't they, as well? So I dare say that could be another layer of austerity. So yeah, just a reminder, more than 10 million pensioners lost out on the top-up payments worth up to £300 a year, when it was limited to only those in receipt of pension credit. But, you know, would you be surprised, people, if in a couple of years' time, let's say perhaps, God willing, we're still going well on the good ship My Left Eye, that we'll be discussing the realistic prospect of Angela Rayner taking over from Starmer? Might not even be that far down the road. So what do you think about that? Let's see what you're saying in the chat, people. Just looks as though it's running nice and smooth today. Oh, you okay. Oh, Phil Morehouse, that's he's a YouTuber, isn't he? Yeah, but the name of the channel will come to me in a moment. He always starts with, "Hi, I'm Phil and I like to talk about politics." Is it that guy? Okay, so what's happening? I'm not trying to start any shit stirring or anything, but just seeing what you're saying in the chat. I know generally what he's about. He sort of stuck with Starmer quite a bit, hasn't he? And sort of refusing to see the real picture. Phil's lighting is pretty trash either way. He's lost the plot, defending the undefensible and talking complete nonsense. You've unsubbed? Well, I want to be clear, I'm not trying to start any, like, you know, YouTuber battle here or anything. I'm just going through my own comments. I guess I could maybe, from what I recall, agree with you on the lighting. This is obviously a faceless channel, so I don't really have that issue myself at the moment. I think Helena had a bit of a debate with him a while back as well, didn't she, on stream, or they recorded an interview. And I remember I did watch some of his stuff, probably still around the time just after the 19 election, maybe coming between then and Corbyn, with Starmer taking over as Labour leader around the same time as well. I can sort of somewhat recall his enthusiasm for Starmer. And as to the sort of theories, the kind of, I think he sort of gets into the 5D chess camp, from what I remember, that he was certainly one of those who was thinking that, oh, you know, just got to get him in and then he'll move left. Basically, one of the, and I'm sure that we've all had debates with those people on social media, you know. It's just important to back him first, and then obviously he's just doing this as a cunning ruse, and then he's going to reveal his super democratic socialist true face. But alas, here we are. And it's not so much a revelation of a socialist face as it is the egg on the face of such commentators, I do have to say. Been slightly smug in correctly predicting what was going to happen there. Yeah, I might try and go back over that debate, excuse me, that he had with Helena. I do remember it being a pretty good one, to be honest. Let's get rid of Rayner, and I don't just mean unseat her from Ashton-under-Lyne here in Manchester. Well, not specifically Ashton-under-Lyne, but not very far away from where the stream's coming from you this evening, people. Well, I guess here's another classic example, just sticking with those who wrongly thought the socialist policies would start rolling in. Just back this, you know, former director of public prosecutions clearly had the knives out for Corbyn. It's not at all suspicious that the first person to suggest he should be leader of the Labour Party was Tony Blair's son. Literally just a few months after he joined the party in 2015. Not suspicious at all. Just waiting for this to load up. But yeah, this policy was, you know, one that we all would like to have seen happen. That Labour are trying to say it is going to happen, but spoiler alert, it actually isn't. So, the first nationalised train in years and years and years, people. Hooray! It's finally here. We could get the bunting out. We can celebrate now. Should we have a nice street party? Oh no, wait. It's a bus. It's a bus. So this is. I'll just. That's the tweet. I'll click on the article here. it's a bus. Not off to a great start. So it's Southwestern Rail. Don't know if any of you on the stream use Southwestern Rail, what sort of reputation they've got. Can't be that much worse than Northern Rail here, that's for sure. One of, if not the worst records in the country at the moment. So it went under, air quotes, public ownership on Sunday at 1 minute to 2 in the morning at British summertime, precisely. Among people who've been collecting memorabilia, train tickets. So what are they going to look? What are there going to be rare exhibits of privatised ticket receipts in museums, you know? But it's engineering works, so it's not particularly been timed very well. The first scheduled service would normally have been the 27 minutes past 2 in the morning from Guildford to Waterloo, but that was cancelled. Going well, isn't it? The next one is 3 hours and 9 minutes later from Woking. Very regular. Just a 3 hour and 9 minute wait. And then you get there and it's a bus. And well, this is obviously the point of nationalisation. Driving down prices, because they're not just run for private profit, of course. The money goes back into the system, which is, of course, going to improve efficiency and service. But will rail fares be lower? It says, perhaps not straight away. Just in case it could be even less encouraging. I mean, as for, you know, you can't call this nationalisation, can you? Really? My pal Footfoots, thank you for joining us, and we've got Bernie in the house as well, Bernie Burrows, and Super Tiny. Thanks a lot for joining us on the chat, just going over this, air quotes, rail nationalisation. Yep, let's nationalise the whole damn lot of it. Can we have Northern Rail next, please? Please? And obviously, the pricing doesn't help with the climate crisis as well. I mean, for example, from here in Manchester, to get a return to London, well, you'll know I often travel myself, it's just over £100 at the moment. I could probably get several return flights to Dublin, probably even Paris, I dare even say, the Netherlands, maybe, for that same amount. So I could choose to travel to another country. Let's say this was for recreational purposes. I could choose to get there and back for the same price, obviously, at the cost of a lot more CO2 production and pollution with it. But not all consumers are as environmentally conscious as I am, and they just look at the cost, don't they, of course? But these ridiculous rail fares certainly don't encourage domestic holidaying when you can go to another country. They're not just the same price but cheaper. These, you know, staycations, as they're called these days. Okay people, just give me one quick minute, nature calls. I'll be right back. I'll leave you with Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics. Please do talk amongst yourselves so I can see you're all doing. I'll just be a moment, people. Okay, thank you for your patience. I've got Sneaky Fish in the chat as well. Nice to see you. Mobius, yeah, once or twice I've raided into All Shorts. I do like his stuff. He's from down in the West Country. But yeah, good stuff. Free plug there. Yeah, I was quick there, Divinia. I wasn't right to my will, don't worry. This isn't being broadcast from the Weatherspoons. I don't have far to go. Further than a jail cell, but not as far as the Weatherspoons. That is his accent as far as I know, Davinia. Yeah, it's West Country, sort of Devon, Cornwall type. I might be a bit incorrect geographically, but thereabouts. Or maybe, you know, Brightonish. Well, I don't think that's as strong an accent over that side. Okay, where are we off to next, people? I've got queued up. We'll get on to the Middle East now. I'll just decide which order to do this in. Turn the background music down a bit. Yeah, since I was last with you on a stream, obviously Netanyahu's thrown his toys out with a pram over the UK, France and Canada, saying that they've really gone too far on the starvation as a tool of war, a tool of oppression in this case. But the writing, the facts are on the wall, you know. And they've said we're now in the cruelest phase of everything. Let's see what's happening. Some 9,000 trucks still waiting at the border. Did you see the video of where hundreds, thousands of people were surrounding this bakery, and they had to throw out bags of bread through this tiny little hatch, and it was just absolute chaos, and that's what people have been reduced to. Gaza is a pulverised city. Doctor told the BBC. Now, there have been a lot of heartbreaking stories from the last 19 months. Of course, we all remember stories like Hindra Jarb, for example. But this weekend, unfortunately, we saw the story of a family, a doctor and her 10 children, and there was an airstrike on their house, and 9 out of 10 children were killed. Her husband's critically injured in hospital. And I think that's absolutely heartbreaking, and we've seen further evidence of deliberately targeting children in this illegal occupation as well. And even if they survive things like that, they are still subject to this starvation. And the problem is not in the supply, it is in the distribution, of course. And I feel absolutely heartbroken when I go through my social media and I see all of these appeals, and the appeals from organisations, but as well as from individuals. I'm sure that you come across some of these as well, and they'll say, you know, we just need X amount of dollars for whatever it is, and you feel completely helpless. You feel unable to be able. It wouldn't matter if you donated a fiver, if you donated a tenner, if you donated £1,000 or £1 million. You'd just have X, whatever amount you've contributed worth of aid stuck at the border, going stale and unusable. And it's truly devastating. I mean, hopefully, I hope it doesn't put people off contributing towards charitable organisations who are doing their best to get this through. So it isn't, yeah, it isn't for a lack of the world coming together and wanting to provide. It's just this absurd, morally vacuous, reprehensible, genocidal, maniacal system. And I've heard some stories as well. We heard that some trucks started to trickle in, nowhere near what's needed. I think about 100 trucks, 1/6 of the daily requirements to feed 2 million Gazans has gone in. But no, it's apparently even worse than that. What has been inside the trucks that have gotten through. Well, a lot of it has been unusable. It's either, you know, perished or inedible food. It will be out of date medicines, for example. And there are certainly some strong suggestions that this could have been done deliberately by the Israelis. Yeah, sorry, I'm just slightly lost for words. Because I've seen a lot of pictures over the last few days of the state of some of these 15,000 children that are starving, and we're talking about basically human skeletons, and it's grotesque. You know, videos and images that I can't share on the stream here, but just utterly heartbreaking. And this was put to leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, on the Trevor Phillips show on Sky today. I'm going to take a bit of a look at that because not only is it absolutely pig ignorant to the fact that there is a genocide happening at the moment, she also let slip there's a bit of a blunder in saying the quiet part out loud, as I mentioned. So go through the clip and then we'll see the it's just one sentence really that gives it away, but there's a lot more to go over as well. Just make some rearrangements here. She really is awful.
Earlier this week, the Prime Minister joined with Mr Macron and Mr Carney in criticising Israel. Mr Netanyahu responded by accusing him of supporting murderers, rapists and baby killers. Was the Israeli leader right to say that?
Well, I think the first thing to say on this issue is that if Hamas is praising your actions, you've probably done something wrong. Hamas is a terrorist group that is, making the lives of the people in Gaza, the Palestinians in Gaza.
That's what Mr Netanyahu said.
So she sounds as though she's trying to dodge around the question, but obviously essentially answers in the affirmative and echoes his sentiments and parrots what he's saying. The main thing to remember here, of course, is that those accusations are complete lies. They've been long since debunked. We're 19 months down the road now. The baby beheading, all that kind of stuff was proven to be absolutely false very early on. But she's still willing to act as though it's still a valid excuse for Israel. Disgusting.
Are you agreeing with his language?
So what I'm saying is that Israel is fighting a war where they want to get 58 hostages who have not been returned. That is what all of this is about. And they have said there won't be a ceasefire until they get their people back. What we need to make sure is that we're on the side that is going to eradicate Hamas. We need that to happen if we're ever going to get a two-state.
No, Kemi. The thing about it ending when they get the people back, as she just put it, isn't factually correct either. The switch between that and the complete eradication of Hamas, whenever they feel like it, depending on what they're doing, neither of which is going to happen if they carry on the way that they're going. And they're certainly not going to wipe out Hamas by continual bombardment. This is their Vietnam. We're talking about a state that is nuclear armed. It's probably the biggest military force outside of Iran in the Middle East. But the fact that they can't get rid of what was 25,000 resistance fighters in a country, compared with the amount of resources that they've got and who they're backed up by, 19 months down the road just goes to show that it's not going to happen. And we know that, you know, it only helps to bolster their numbers by continuing with these atrocities, if anything. That's not just happening here, that's happened historically. There are a lot of comparatives between this and Vietnam, and the outcome is just going to be the same. The supposed overwhelming force is going to end up with its tail between its legs.
A solution and end this war.
But does that mean that you, A, support the current Israeli action, and that actually you think that Mr. Netanyahu's language on this is justified?
I'm not here to police the language of the Prime Minister of Israel.
I'm not asking you to police it, I'm asking...
What he has said,
people need to know where you stand.
Yeah, but I've been very clear where I stand. Hamas is a terrorist group. They are not our friends.
I'm talking about what you think about the Israelis'
Yes, but it's all related. Who funds Hamas? Iran. An enemy of this country. An enemy of this country. Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK, just like Ukraine is on behalf of the Western.
Whoa. There you go. Back up.
An enemy of this country, Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK, just like Ukraine is on behalf of the Western Europe against Russia.
We're fighting a proxy war? There's a proxy war. It's not. See? The quiet part said out loud. Israel are fighting on our behalf, are they? Because they sit in the Middle East. And it's strategic against Iran, who you mentioned there, and that's who your main target is. Well, we all know that, Kemi, but you're not really supposed to say that on national television, are you? Davinia, thank you very much for that super chats. I would not be surprised if she's out before Christmas either. Not at this rate. I'm sure there were a few Tories spitting the sherry out of their mouths when they were watching this earlier on today. So yes, the Ukraine-Russia war is clearly a proxy war. This is not a proxy war because it's not a war at all, is it? I pointed out on social media earlier that what this half-wit doesn't understand is that a war is when two armies are fighting each other. What we've got here is an illegal occupation that's been going on since the 1940s. It's not a war. It's not a war. But it is certainly countries like the United Kingdom and the United States seeking further influence in the Middle East via Israel. We know that. That is more or less why Zionism was created in the first place. That is why the concept of the state of Israel and in the Balfour Declaration and all the rest of it was created. It wasn't out of any sense of empathy or charity towards a religion that had just suffered a huge atrocity. Oh no, it's about land, it's about territory, it's about control. And back in the 40s, they were obviously thinking on a macro scale about that, and that's why you've got your Israel. That's why you've got your proxy occupation, as it were. But it's illegal and it's indefensible. It's indefensible, Kemi. Really is. Yeah, super. She more or less said that Israel are fighting the Hamas to protect the UK. Yeah, bang, bang, bang. October 7th, you know. Do you condemn the Hannibal Directive on October 7th, Kemi? Do you not want to talk about the Hannibal Directive? No? No? Shoot to kill? Even Israeli citizens? No? I don't know if we'll ever find out how many of the 1,200 people that were killed on October the 7th, 2023 were actually shot by the IDF as opposed to Hamas. We might never know, but I suspect it's a significant portion. From what I've seen, such was how indiscriminate the firing from helicopters was, for example. This is the kind of thing that she's got to defend. But she can't, because it's indefensible.
We have to get serious. We have to get serious. There was a terrorist plot in London against the Israeli embassy. We saw 2 Jewish members of the Israeli embassy in DC killed. Whose side are we on? We need to make sure that the hostages are returned. No one wants to see a...
You know, you never hear about these sort of plots against very passive, non-warmongery countries, do you? You don't see such threats against Norway or whatever, you know, countries that haven't been really involved in any type of warfare for a very long time now. And the only time that they were historically is when it was brought upon them by invaders or potential occupiers. So does Kemi not sense the correlation that, yeah, when you carry out, and I'm not excusing terrorism, obviously, but you can hardly be surprised the way that certain countries act on an international level, that there isn't some pushback against that. And we unfortunately found that out for ourselves during the illegal invasion of Iraq, didn't we? When there were attacks on tube stations and buses in London, here in the UK. There were similar incidents in Spain, in Barcelona, weren't there? And there's obviously a direct positive correlation there.
War in Gaza. Palestinians are suffering. Netanyahu is complaining that he thinks our leaders are carrying out the wrong action. He has every right to say that. What I want to see is Keir Starmer making sure that...
All that Starmer and Lammy said, as well as France and Canada, was, please stop starving these people to death. You're going way beyond the pale now. That is all that they said, and you can't get on board with that. You can't get on board with that. You just quickly throw in, oh, Palestinians are suffering. that you've said your bit, now move on. Just where's the humanity?
He is on the right side of British national interest. That cannot be on the side of Hamas.
I'm asking you.
That's one of my least favourite phrases in politics, I guess. National interest. National interest. That doesn't give free licence to go and do what you want all around the world, and for people to suffer at the hands of your country as well in your national interest. Like you hear the Americans say it a lot. America and her interests, you know. Your interests are generally go in this country and steal its natural mineral resources, and if anyone tries to get in the way, then you try and label them as a terrorist, or you hire your own terrorists to put in there and use them as an excuse to go into the country. Or just train them yourself like the CIA did with the Mudajeen in the 1980s when they were fighting against Soviet Russia, the Mudajeen, which eventually turned into what we now know as Al-Qaeda. Yeah. You know. Same shit, different day.
About the Israeli language and Israeli action. Are you actually equating the Israeli action in Gaza with Ukrainians?
So Israel is fighting a war. Israel is fighting a war. It is not for me to police exactly how they are doing that. It is not a genocide.
Well, it is for the International Court of Justice, Kemi, to police it. That is actually their function. That is why they're set up, and as well as the United Nations and the ICC. And they all say it's a genocide. These are the official bodies that you're referring to. They say that it's not a war, it's an illegal occupation and a genocide. So no, it's not your job to police them, but the ones who are say that it is.
As people are saying, there are a lot of things which we can criticise Israel on, which I have done in terms of how they may carry out some of these actions. But the bottom line is they are fighting a terrorist group that is trying to destroy that country. They want to get their hostages back. And if Hamas is praising the actions of Macron and Starmer, something is not right.
This morning,
that is where we need
this morning it doesn't sound like you're criticising anything that the Israelis do.
That's not true. I have criticised things before, but right now there are 58 hostages. There are 58 hostages who have not been returned home. If you sat where I sat and spoke to the mothers of those hostages, like I did, who were talking just a year ago, 2 years ago, about posters of their children being ripped down.
Tell them about the number of times that Netanyahu trashed the ceasefire talks. Those of whom you're referring to could have been released months ago, over a year ago. But no, they didn't want it that way because they need to use the hostages, that is Israel, need to use the hostages as pawns. They don't care about their own citizens. They see them as, those hostages as fodder to be able to continue basically the eradication of a people from their own land, which is what's happening, Kemi. Why don't you tell them that? Not that she's in direct communication with them whatsoever, or or the families probably not.
Okay. Well, they hadn't come home. Okay. I think that we need to recognise this is a very difficult situation, but I do not want to be in a position where a terrorist group is praising my actions, and that is where Keir Starmer has found himself. I do not think that we should be doing anything that is not in the national interest of this country. Iran-backed terror.
Just, again, going back, all that they said was, please let some aid in to the country. And Hamas said, that was the right thing to say, thank you for pointing that out. You know, you certainly can't use that as an excuse to continue this starvation. Where does she get this from? I mean, I'm going out of my fucking mind here, people. How she can look him straight in the face. How she can do this on public television and expect that that is a legitimate reason. That people at home, nodding along, yeah, she really, really sees the situation the way that it is. Good for her. Yeah, well done, well done. Out before Christmas, you think, Davinia? I dare say you might be right. That was absolute garbage from Kemi Badenoch. Herbie, please. So yes, from that, I want to go into something a little more encouraging from someone who needs no introduction. And we were talking a little bit about the Wide Awake Festival earlier on, but a certain member of Parliament also made a great speech.
Earlier this week,
I'll even use the right clip.
What music also does is brings us together in all our joy, our diversity, our multicultural, multilingual, multi-ethnic society. So let's hear no more of this nonsense that's spoken by some about this being a country of strangers. Let's hear no more of the repetition of what the wretched Enoch Powell said when I was a young person in the 1960s. Our community, our strength, our joy, our lives, our hope is our diversity, is our different backgrounds, is our different food, is our different music. It's what makes London such a very special place. Yeah. And when I think back of all the struggles of the Afro-Caribbean community in Brixton in the 1950s and 1960s, all those that suffered the most abominable racism within our society, yet they fought back. They fought back through culture, through strength, through music, and through coming together. So here today, we can declare our absolute abhorrence of racism in any form whatsoever in our lives or our society.
Well said there, of course. The Member of Parliament for North Islington Independent MP, Jeremy Corbyn. Islington North, I should say, not North Islington. Quite a few of you said you'd vote for him if he got a new party together when we did the poll on the stream. Still waiting for some news about that, but well said as always there, of course, from old JC. Thank you, Morbius, that either is acceptable. You are a resident, I believe. He's a fucking resident. Sorry, that sounded a bit, you know, like a tacky cockney. But thanks for clearing that up. Didn't want to make a faux pas. Don't want to insult any of his good constituents. He's a resident. His name is down, he can get in, but your name is not down. You are not getting in. It's a rare appearance from the North London Dorman accent. Right, let's let's crack on. I'm getting towards the end of the stream here, people, but do stick around. Hopefully, I'm sure that there'll be somewhere to raid into very shortly. But I do have to give another plug, a bit of self-promotion. This will be the last play of the volume, the Bruise at 10, the album, volume 7, I should say, because the new one will be coming out next week. So just a reminder to get all your suggestions in for your tea-based songs and artists. Yeah, volume 8 to come.
Do you like a hot, tasty beverage with your music? Then my left eye has got a treat for your ears. The Bruise at 10, the album. All your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place.
Volume 7 is now available, featuring Take On Tea, Aha, Suddenly IT, KT Tunstall, What's Love Got Tea Do With It, Tina Turner, Ain't That a Shame, Pat Broon, Tea Baggy Trousers, Madness, plus many more. Order now.
Thanks a lot for all of your suggestions. Keep them coming in. Oh, bear with, I've just got this monitor issue again. It's alright. We're all good. If you're watching back later, please do add your suggestions in the comments, I should say. Yeah, Sneaky Fish, it's not actually available anywhere. Don't go asking for it, you know, in your local, or try and look it up on Spotify or anything, or in a record shop. However you get, don't use Spotify, please. Yeah, buy hard copies. Excuse me. Just go through a few more comments. Martin, I don't know about a wasted 5 years, but I do know he was potentially considering stepping down from politics for a while, and sort of needed a bit of persuading and reassurances from other people that they could get something together potentially. Obviously, he had to, I guess, wait, you know, for other like-minded MPs to get suspended as well, Zara Sultana et al. So I don't know, I just hope whatever he does put together could be a genuine challenge. I just don't want it to split the vote or turn into another 2019 for obvious reasons. You will own nothing and be happy. Pay digital rents to cloud capital overlords and don't buy hard copies of your media, peasants. Yeah, true. And of course, I'll be promptly giving another shout out to all the members on the channel. And I've got some more to add to the list as well. Thanks again for those gifted memberships tonight, Morbius and Divinia. Really do appreciate that. Marvellous members. What a great community we've got here on my left eye. whilst the names are coming up, I'm just going to quickly check who's streaming as I speak. And we can jump over there as soon as we're done. Ah, really? I thought I'd have a bit of a choice, but apparently not. Unless they're going on later or they've already been on. Anyone I'm subscribed to? Okay. Well, I guess once again, barring any very late last moment suggestions, there will not be a raid. No Justice isn't live. So yeah, maybe we just miss No Justice, unfortunately. But I'll give a free plug anyway. I know that a lot of regular viewers are fans of the channel. That's at No Justice MTG. Go and check out the channel. I insist. It said Rathbone was live. I'll just double check it's not that one that was left hanging up there that's already happened. I don't know why that's going on. I'll double check. It was the only suggested one. It says upcoming. Just let me go and check the. It is upcoming, but it's not for 2 days, I guess. Well, it's better than nothing, but it's not one that's already been on, so. Reminder as well, check out Rothschild's, the Rothschild's clip on earlier. Okay. So it'll take you to that, and you can set a reminder if you want to check out Rathbone's stream in a couple of days. Hope it doesn't encroach with the Bruise at 10. So all that's left to do, people, take a quick dip into the Fondue Lounge and then we'll call it a night. Here he is. Oh no. Wrong soundtrack. Where's the thing gone? There it is. Alright, so thank you very much for joining me on another Sunday live stream. You've been fabulous, certainly more fabulous than this set of bastards who you can see on the screen, apart from the dog, of course, who's awesome. Those two people at the back look alright as well. But apart from that, the right shower of shite. Okay, yeah, so I'll be back with you, like I said, during the week on Bruise at 10, so do join me then. If you're having a bank holiday Monday tomorrow, do enjoy. And whatever you do with the rest of your night, take care of my left. I'll be seeing you soon, people. Free Palestine and power to the people. Let's get some flags and watermelons in the chat as we part ways. Good night.